Somebody missing? Or was that HBR back?
We'll be missing, but here we are, ladies and gents, for round 12 of the Trackstars TS2 Touring Cars. We're nearly finished the season here for 2023. The question is, who will be crowned the champion? That's what we will be asking come round 13 in a couple of weeks' time at St Croix. We are over in Tokyo, so we're still over in Japan. Obviously, they did have Suzuka, and now we've headed over to Tokyo on a road course. But as always, joined with me, I have the obviously famous, I won't say infamous, N-Spud. So, welcome, my friend. How are you on this fine Sunday evening?
Yes, good evening, DJ. Good evening, everyone. Yes, we are on the final leg of the Japanese leg here at Tokyo. It's a beautiful sunset, which is going to lead very nicely to the main series, running in the night. All 22 sessions for 24 laps of the main series, but for the TS2, they've got 2 sessions of 12 lappers, so it's going to be getting those laps in. Really trying to get yourselves as fine as you can towards the wall. Really just try and find as much margin as you can and find as much time as you can getting close to the walls, especially through the S's in Sector 1. And then all about trying to get through the bunny hop, the Tokyo chicane on the back straight. So it's really important to try and get those lines honed in, and hopefully all the practice sessions that the guys have been doing in TS2 will hopefully get themselves some good qualifying pace here. So we saw some good times in the pre-qualifying. We saw Aiden Holton in the car 98 CP Motorsports get himself a 1 minute 23.2. So that's the benchmark so far. And we had Breeder not too far behind with a 23.9, but he looks like he's better that time with 23.7 in practice. So we're almost set to go for qualifying, and I'm very excited about this track, Ryan. I do love my street racing, and I do love the street racing on Tokyo Expressway. So what's it all about when it comes to street race? I think in Australia we do have our infamous road courses, such as the Newcastle 500, the Adelaide 500, the Gold Coast 600. We've got so many street races here in Australia, but what makes it unique when it comes to putting a car on a street track?
Well, obviously the first one is the old nickname that they have. It's a concrete canyon, so you've got concrete walls left and right of you, guardrails, that kind of stuff. Minimal room to move. But the other thing is, it's not the same, same asphalt you'll have like a racing circuit. Like obviously tracks like Bed. Any other fun circuits they go to, Sandown, Wintown, Phillip Island, all that kind of stuff. So, not only that, but they also have the white painted lines. And if you start to put the accelerator down on the white painted line, you're more than likely send it through to a bit of a spin. So, yeah, street tracks are definitely interesting, but you've got minimal room to move here. You're going to be trying to take all the track that you can there. You can see Lamb, who's actually been doing pretty well this season so far, right out to the walls there. Try and use as much of that curve as you can without trying to run track limits on the exit there. But yeah, no, I like Tokyo. I do like it a lot. It's a long sweeping. You're at full throttle for what are you saying? Probably 90% of the lap. So yeah, it's definitely going to be a good race. But that tailwind up into the chicane may play a little bit funny business on some of these cars.
Oh, I've actually just noticed that 3.2 tailwind going through there, and a bit of a cross breeze coming through the S's, so the car's going to be really pushed wide and make you get all that understeer, especially when you're going through the right-handers. It's going to really push you out to the left-hand side. But it looks like we've got ourselves a full grid. I think we are missing one driver. We are missing Pat Trappett, who was the clean swing victor last time out at Mount Fuji for the Fuji Sprint. So I'm not so sure if he's going to be able to make it tonight. But I'm sure we'll get qualifying underway very shortly. But I don't know. I'm very excited. And I think the key thing is as well, as you mentioned earlier in the broadcast, it is the final rounds before we actually implement drop rounds. So we take every driver's two lowest scoring performances from the season, from rounds 1 to round 12. We'd subtract that before we get to St Croix next weekend, and we have ourselves a brand new championship table, and it could really spice up this championship. I know you've been crunching numbers in the background off air a few weeks ago, and you could tell us how spicy it's going to be towards the end at St Croix.
Yeah, it will be a bit spicy there. You know, we do have just a lot of the results here, but from what I can see at the moment, you know, the other thing we have here is we are missing Les, so Sandwich will be missing this round. So the question is, can this play into Sandwich's hands? Because, you know, Chuck 2 drop rounds in, Chuck Green is dropping in here. Because from what I can see, it'll be between Green, Sandwich, and maybe Crestdale. So yeah, it'll be very, very close here at the moment. You know, anywhere within 150 points of that between 3 and 4 drivers. So yeah, it's going to be pretty spicy for St Croix. You know, not only that, but for main series too, anywhere from 2nd all the way down to 6, 7, 8. So you know, that can be pretty spicy as well. But yeah, the championships aren't done yet. Obviously, Grid 1 is on the pace at the moment. Main series, that's probably going to be the only championship that we'll have crowned before St Croix. But yeah, it's going to be interesting here TS2 on how it's going to result.
Look at all the cars just filing out, all single file, really close proximity to each other. So very interesting strategy that everyone goes for. Everyone, you want to be the first car out, but also you don't want to be the first car out because you are providing a slipstream train along this back straight. But it can affect the handling performances through the S's and the braking into the hairpin. So it's really important to hopefully drivers spread themselves out. As we see Holton there just backing out of it, says I don't want to get part of this. I want as much clean air as I can. And it's all about getting that run through the Tokyo chicane and onto the main straight, which is not really a main straight because it kind of just curves in straight into a turn 1 here as we have Chris Burke in Stavros Magpie for Robbo Sport Racing leading the way, the host of the TS2 Top Split. So we thank him for his services for bringing us the TS2 Top Split. He's coming through the S's there, up into turns 4, and then down to the famous hairpin where you can get it so wrong by braking in very late. But there are some different lines that you can take this hairpin. You can take it nice and early, just cut yourselves into the narrow line, or as some people could potentially be taking a late apex, running the car a little bit wider, but getting a much straighter exit, as you really need that straight line speed and that straight exit along this fast back straight right.
Yeah, you know, you're going to need maximum amount of speed you can get down here into the sweeping run here, the down run into the chicane, because, you know, it's going to be really cool to get the maximum amount of pace out of the car. You know, you can see here, the car's hitting 290, 292, and then we jump back to HPR, 293, just outside slip range, but then he's in dirty air. You can see him miss the apex there, run into the wall. So, you know, I don't think he's not going to want to be running that close to Purton, but if that was me, I'd be kind of dropping back to the train. Looks like Holton played a little bit of a spicy game here with Hall in FR, who, you know, might be running a little bit of slipstream there for his buddy, but 24.6, so Burke, the lead car at the moment, has set to 24.4, so, you know, and then we've got Lamb, who made that bit of a mistake there, coming off that back straight in the right-hander, missing the apex, sitting in P2, but, yeah, well, this is going to be pretty spicy because, you know, 6 tenths between P3 to P4, so, yeah, well, it's going to be massive there, but now we've got Hall behind Muffin, in Alton. The question is, can he latch onto the back of that CP Motorsports Nissan and get a good run down there? You can see that tight line that he's taken. Halton, not the best exit, but he's not too far behind Hall, so I think Hall's on a good run here if he's going to stay in that slip all the way down there on the run. So yeah, it's going to provide critical, but not only that, dirty air in the race is going to be pretty massive for a second half.
Absolutely, and as Japan is very well famous for its Tokyo, for its bullet trains with the platypus nose up the front there. We can talk about our GT500 train with our slipstream of how fast these cars are going around. They're going about 280 kilometers down the back straight with that slipstream. It's just incredible pace that you can get with these cars. So you come the race on that opening lap, it's going to be very, very spicy. on who can get the best run. As he gets it all crossed up on the last part of the chicane there, that is the most trickiest part of the track here, Ryan. Just trying to execute that Tokyo chicane, leading onto this back straight here as we have Hall improving his lap time with a 1 minute 25, but Muffin and Aiden Holton has improved his lap time to a 1 minute 23.8. So it's all about just trying to get those early laps in, just build yourself some confidence, because the first lap you're not really going to get it first time out. It's going to take a little while. You've got about less than 6 minutes to go, so you've got a little while to adapt to the track, adapt to the conditions, and I guess in a way just try and find someone that you can work with in that slip trim, because looking at this case with Holton right behind Burton, it looks like it's definitely going to catch him before the end of the backstroke, so it could definitely benefit him, but with Burton's game, he'll want to make sure he doesn't lose time himself if he's going to give that position to Holton.
Yeah, definitely. You know, you're going to be wanting to stick with the car in quality, get the best run he can. Oh, Greeny, that's the other guy we have in question here. I'll just see what happens here. It looks like he really caught the back of Kentwell there, where he kind of didn't really want to. So Kentwell got him going slow there on the racing line. Not really what he wanted to do. Wow, really beating Green there. Really unlucky for him, because he's on maximum points all now at the moment. And I've done a little bit of calculations in the mix now, and we've got 145 points between Sandwich and Green coming into this round. So, sorry, which will be at the moment with 1 drop round applied. So, 2 applied, sorry. So we have 145 points with 2 drop rounds applied. So Green and Sandwich would have missed a round each. So they've both got, you know, 1 0-point drop round each. So that's going to be huge.
Yeah, it's going to be a very spicy finish towards when we get to St Croix, but we'll get to that as we get towards the end of this qualifying. We've got less than 4.5 to go, so Green's going to set himself for another flying lap here after being a little bit held up by Cantwell coming through the S's as he's about to approach them right now. Let's see if we can go on board with the man that could be putting a charge in late in this TS2 championship, going through turn 1, really getting yourself up close to the right hand side of the wall there, and really just fly the car through. Try to not take your foot off the throttle too much. You want to keep as much pace as you can. The car is sticking to the ground nicely, and it shows there. It shows there with the purple first sector over a 10. I think, and Aiden Holton, we always keep forgetting that Green and Holton are teammates. There's no teams championship in TS2, but I'm sure if those two were sticking around for the whole duration of TS2, we could be seeing CP Motorsports up the top there. But coming onto this back straight, went a little bit narrow through the hairpin there, so maybe a little bit washed off a little bit of speed there, but he's kind of building it back up now onto this back straight here. So well over 280 kilometers plus in the Nissan GTR, the 2016 model spec Nissan GTR. Only gone green on his time there, so I did kind of point out that his entry to the hairpin wasn't the best. Runs the car wide, nearly scrapes the wall there, and then it's going to come through to the Tokyo chicane here. Clip the inside, clip the right hand side of the track, and then not touch the curb on the left-hander. Really gets the car out of shape on the exit of the right-hand corner, and then right out onto the last part of the track here. Will he be able to improve his lap time? Can he go pole position? He doesn't. He's so close. He's over a 10th behind Holton. That is some impressive pace there by Green.
Yeah, that was a really good lap there. Unfortunate, as you said, a bit of an abnormal line there through the hairpin, but there is a couple of lines you can run through there, but it just depends on feeling and how it is there. But Hamilton's in a slip, but not where he wants to be. He wants to be a lot closer here, because then he wants to overtake Aussie coming in, but he's 6/10 down. So 7 minutes 40 gone, 2 minutes 20 to go. We'll see drivers probably get 2 laps in.
Nearly clicking over 300 kph was Holton there. 297 I saw on his speedometer, but look, he's done the right thing. He's just backed off. He knows he can't improve on his lap time there, so he's just backed off. He's going to get another couple of laps in, but let's go through our running order. We have Aiden Holton and Green, and in first and second place for CP Motorsports, and then we have the privateer in KH Lamb HBR 82 running in third place. Chris Burke, who was in P4, has now been overtaken by his teammate in Ed Breeder. So the Flying Dutchman, who didn't really have the best performance at Fuji International Speedway, is running very nicely here in Tokyo in 4th place. Must be a fan of street circuit racing. Chris Burke holds on to 5th. Aussie Taylor in 6th, and then Ben Burton holding on to 7th place. So that's a nice result there for the PHE Sports driver at 7th. And then we have Matt Hall in 8th place. Then we have Ben Churchill 9th, and Tristan Mason rounding up the top 10 with Van Buren 11th, Severi 12th, Doc in 13th, and Cantwell rounding up the 14 drivers. But it is very close here, as I say, close. Green has gone into the top. He's gone well clear, over 2 tenths on Aidan Holton. So what can Aidan Holton do as we cut back to his POV there? He's again catching up to the back of Aussie Taylor here, but he's a lot further back now. He's not as close to him as he is to his rear wing, but he clips the wall on the left-hand side, so that will sacrifice a little bit of speed on the car 98 there. Takes the curving very nicely there. Very smooth exit coming onto the final corner, onto the pit straight.
Huge. It's going to be very close there because he's still in the slip there. 21, 22, 23.
Oh, he's done it. He got himself to 23.4. So very nice flying lap time. So what has Green got in response?
Green will
He's
have
going to get
one more lap. He'll just scrape through as long as he doesn't make any mistakes.
Absolutely, he's getting so close. The two teammates really pushing each other. He went a little bit too deep.
That's going to be half second penalty there.
He got away with it, looks like. So he's just going to back off. He's going to cross the line with 3, 2. Does he get over for one more? He does with 2 seconds to go. So it's all for broke here for Green. Third place man in the championship. We'll stay with him as we get towards the end of the race. But we can see some drivers down the order. Hasn't really changed here with Lamb in third, Breeder fourth, and Burke in the pit lane, rounding up the top 5. But let's stay with Mann in position 2. Does he get compromised? He's only a 10th down from Muffin's personal best there, but he's going to get held up a little bit. Does Van Buren just tries to go to the inside, gives as much space as he can. Has he backed out of it? Looks like he has. So Green is taking a bit of a different approach through the hairpin. Might help him on the exit here, Ryan. So he's got a car ahead of him that could provide a little bit of slipstream as well.
Yeah, definitely. Holton's still on the lap as well, so he managed to squeeze through, but yeah, compromised a little bit. Probably didn't want to run that line through there. Not close enough to Severi for the slipstream there. Obviously, the other CP Motorsports car, he's 0.85 down. There is potential, as if he gets a really good run there and gets in the slipstream, there is a lot of potential here for Green to go to the top, or at least close the gap there. But what will happen here? Will he get a good run through the chicane? Very nice. Oh, a little bit sketchy there, but he's in slip range of Severi, so can he pull closer here? Look at that time there. 19, 20. It'll be very close to...
And Green get it. Oh, he just
lost a lot of time there. Wow.
That's very unlucky for Green there. So very unfortunate for Green, but he still takes P2. Next, lining up next to his teammate in Aidan Holton in P2. And then, as we saw, the order hasn't really changed. So we did see Churchill's actually moved up towards into P7 here. What about Ben Pertz? What can he do as he comes around the final corner? He's actually on his outlap, so he won't be able to, unless he sets himself a 48-second lap. Then, my goodness, you are a legend, Ben Pertz. But but a very strong qualifying there by the CP drivers of both Holton and Green, very close to each other, just over a tenth separating the two. That's incredibly close.
Yeah, definitely. But the other thing is, Green doesn't have Holton to worry about. He may, he's gonna, if Holton stays there, he will take some championship points, off him. But the closest person that he's got in the championship, realistically, is Lamb here in P3, which is just behind him, but he's 4 tenths behind. So, doesn't have Crestdale, who's also a no-show, and we also don't have Sandwich. So, the people that he's battling for a championship are, currently not here or not really in fighting range, but, put him in a big pack and anything can happen. But yeah, I think there's going to be a bit of a spicy race here between the two CP drivers, and, add Lamb in there, because, we saw Lamb last round as well. He was, off the pace a little bit in quali, but in the race, he was actually fighting for a top 3 position. So, Lamb has actually really impressed me this season. I'm quite impressed with him.
Absolutely, Lamb's just a sole man for his own red team in the Lexus RCF there. So I think we might have to start giving him a name, ladies and gentlemen. So if you can think of a name that we can give Lamb until the end of the year, as for a team name rather than privateer, because it just sounds a little bit weird calling him as a privateer. He's a driver that you want in a team. He just puts on a performance, says he's got some good pace on him. He's running P3, the fastest Lexus there. Not too far behind was Aussie Taylor there. He's only 0.5 down less than half a second behind HBR. So Aussie showing some good resurgence there. But looking from 6th, 7th, and 8th place, not even a 10th separating those drivers between Aussie, Churchill, and Purton. So that is so close. It just shows all about the fine margins here at Tokyo Expressway.
Yeah, that was massive there. Cancelled practice. Not too sure what's happened there, but yeah, well, that was a very interesting quali. And yeah, I like your idea about the team name there for Lamb, because I don't currently have any. But yeah, wow. I think this is going to be a bit interesting, but yeah. We have some notes that Pat is currently watching F1. So I don't know if we're going to see Pat around for the F2 race, because he's currently watching the F1 race, which is currently pretty spicy. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so once we sort ourselves out, ladies and gentlemen, we will bring you all the race coverage here at Trackstars Racing Series. So like and subscribe to us here on the YouTube channel if you like what you see, and stick around as we're going to bring you some main series racing in just under 2 hours time, and we will get back to you guys very shortly. And what it looks like here is Mr. Ryan Palmer's going to take us out for a hot lap. So if you're going to do the honors, mate, go for it.
Yeah, we will. And surprisingly, in Tokyo, we don't actually have the pit lane on where the start line is. So we've got half a lap to go before, you know, the lap realistically starts. So here, you just kind of got to warm up the tyres. But like they have in F1 in Vegas, it looks like a bit of a struggle here to get the tyres up to temp due to obviously the climate and stuff like that. But yeah, no, it's looking like a good race tonight, I think.
Yeah, absolutely right. Well, with the new layout that we have in Las Vegas, and a little bit of all the background complaints about it, I think, is with some of the locals mainly. It's definitely putting on a good show here. They spent lots of like $500 million, I think, to buy the land, to buy a lot of land around Las Vegas just to use it for the 3 nights at Las Vegas. So, and they're going to be running it for the next 10 years. So. It is a very exciting race. We did see a couple of massive incidents there as the drivers are starting to acclimatise themselves to the track here, at the track at Las Vegas. It's kind of like similar to what we've got right now, like at Tokyo Expressway. It's all about just really getting yourself into a rhythm, trying to get yourself in the right headspace, and really just try and put your car in the right position at the right time, because there's no pit stops in TS2. But it's just all about getting that start sequence right and really just trying to know when to make your moves, because around here overtaking is not quite come easy, and especially come down to the Tokyo chicane, it's not going to be an easy place to find any overtakes.
No, definitely. We obviously have the gentleman's agreement like we did at Suzuka there, so whoever's ahead at the 100 meter board, they will have to cede the position, so that can be a bit spicy there. But so far this car feels pretty alright. You know, I am running it without game sound, so I don't know what the car sounds like, just kind of going off field. But yeah, no, I do quite like the Honda in TS2. I'd be definitely running it if it was me. But,
looks like we might be ready to go very soon. Looks like we have, so it doesn't look like we're going to have Pat Trappett joining us here, the clean sweep victor at Fuji International Speedway for the Mount Fuji Sprint. So it looks like we're going to be starting with 14-man grids, so, and as well with the TS2 Split 2, they're going to be running themselves a single race format for 18 laps around the Tokyo Expressway. So not enough that entered in round 12 of the Tokyo Expressway Tokyo Sprint. So they're going to be running themselves a nice little enduro, getting themselves prepared for the next time out, Ryan, because we have to remember as well, next time out, it is going to be a single race format, the St Croix 250, but we will get to that in 1 week's time. We are here for the Tokyo Sprint, and we are ready to go. So the CP boys locking out the front row. Aidan Holton versus Green in second place. with HBR Lamb right behind, and we're going to wait for those lights to go green. 5 red lights, the revs rise here at Tokyo, and we are underway. Green flag racing, a brilliant launch there by Aiden Holton. As we can see, a car's getting bogged down in the opening sequences of the gear changes. Purton's come up through very nicely as the cars are trying to file through here as cautiously as they can. 3 wide through the turn 1. Beautiful racing here. Looks like no major damage there, no major contact from anyone. Looks like a very clean start here by our TS2 driver, so we thank them for the patience here, but it's all going to come down to the turn 5 chicane. We're going to look back towards some of the drivers there as Aiden Holton is leading his teammate in green. Breeder's looking for an inside move. Aussie Taylor's moved up into 5th. Burton 6th, and looks like Burke has been the biggest loser out of this as we see some cars in the background spinning around. It is Severi and Cantwell, both good mates in the real world, but looking like they've made a bit of contact there. Not so good mates here on this track here as Cantwell and both Severi have gone out. Synchronized spinning there for those two, so they'll be telling them a few stories over a couple of years later tonight. But it is Holton just ahead of Green, P1, P2. Lamb holds on to 3rd, and he's getting hounded by the rear end, by the front bumper of Aussie Taylor as they go down to the Tokyo chicane for the first time. Going through the gentleman's agreement there, very nicely there. As we see, it looks like someone's made contact. No, they haven't made contact with them all. I thought they did.
It was a little bit loose.
There you go.
Very good there from those drivers. That's probably, for me, the best TS2 first, lap 1 sequence race start that we've had all season. So, that's very good from them, coming into the chicane. Just shows that they read driver's briefing. So, that's the other thing we thank them. But Holton hasn't gapped Green here yet. But I'm curious to see if Green can get a bit more pace in that car. Maybe he's just waiting for the tyres to come up to temperature and wait and see there. But yeah, they've all settled down now. What have we got back here? We've got Hall making a move on Churchill. Teammates here. Hall runs really deep there, runs an alternate line. Churchill tries to get the crisscross happening, but we've got 3, 4, 5 cars in slipstream range, so this can get pretty spicy back here.
Yeah, the 2 teammates from FR Racing to make an impact, but they are battling each other a little bit too hard. They're not able to make progress on Burke's Robbo Sport Racing 486 as he's looking to close the gap on him and Purton. He's just going to go for an inside move. Purton goes defensive, but he pulls out onto the racing line. What does Burke do? Does he send it on the inside? He doesn't. He backs out of it. It's a very smart move there because Purton runs a little bit wide there. You can see the flash of the headlights thanks to his DS5 controller mapping with the thumbstick, with the steering on the left joystick, so he can see there how much input he's got on his car. But he still holds on to P6, does Purton. A little bit compromised there as he's hold the pack up a little bit. He's a little bit of the cork in the bottle now, not really being able to close up to the back of Breeder as we have the top 5 of Holton, Green, Lamb, Aussie, Taylor, and Breeder, your top 5.
Yeah, Mason goes for a really deep move there on Doc, gets it done. A little bit of rubbing, but yeah, didn't push him off or anything like that. So as far as I'm concerned, that's a all well and well good. But yeah, no, Purton had a little bit of a sketchy run coming into the chicane there, but for a top 6 here as well. If he sits on the back of Breeder, who's stuck behind Aussie at the moment, I think we maybe see a bit of a battle here for what would be 3rd place, because Holton's called it today and said, "See boys, I'm out of here," and now they've got 2.5 seconds between Green and Lamb. But at the moment, Green doesn't really need to push. I've been speaking to him lately, and yeah, he's like, I just need to get the maximum amount of points that I can, and I think he knows that Holton isn't in the championship fight. He's not. He's worried. So, as much as he won't get a win, he will still get a valuable amount of points here. So that's going to be critical for him come the end of this one going into St Croix. But yeah, this is really spicy here between Breeder, Aussie, Lamb, and Purton to the mix here. I think Purton, he's been a little bit down on pace through the season, hasn't really got to terms with the car, but he must like Tokyo, and in saying that, gets a penalty there, so he must have got that on the exit of the chicane, which isn't hard to do. You hit that left-hand chicane and call it a day, because it just drifts out a little bit wide there. Burke going up the inside there, pulls out of there. Really nice racemanship there.
That's set Burke spinning around there, so that's no fault of Burton there. He just was a little bit compromised there. He won't try to go for the move, did Burke. He backed out of it. Didn't realise Burton was going to be hitting the barriers there. He just got a little bit spooked there. Yeah. So goes front splitter, front left, and front right damage. So that's going to really hurt him on the back straight here. You can see, you can just imagine the toe angle on that Nissan GTR just facing each other. It's kind of like you're going cross-eyed between those two tyre compounds. So yeah, he's not going to be enjoying himself at this rate. Being outside the top 10 now, but Burton does have to serve that half-second penalty. He might not be affected too much. Hall's only 1.2 behind, so he'll lose time to Hall, but I think he might still be ahead of him coming into turn 1. He's got his teammate in Churchill right behind. We haven't seen Churchill in a little while there, but we know he's got some good pace. We have seen his performances with our sister brand in the Motormotion E Series racing for Road Sync Racing and the Track Racing TCR Cup. He's got some pace in the TCR cars, and he's got some really good pace in the FR Racing Nissan GTO, so still holding on to 8th place. He's yet to get some main series eligibility, so potentially tonight could be the night for Churchill and for FR Racing.
Yeah, you know, he didn't get a real good qualifying result here, but if he stays here, he's going to be P8 on the start, and you know, being closed up on the field, it's going to be pretty critical for him. But yeah, it's getting really spicy here for this P6. I'll just jump back to the front, 1.4 seconds, so they've just gapped there. But Lamb looks like he's made a mistake, and Aussie's thought, thank you very much, and now he's under pressure from Breeder here. So there's a lot going on at the moment. I don't know what to keep my eyes on, whether I want this one or, you know, 6th place. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he definitely got it on this lap here. I think he must have made a mistake through the S's, did Lamb, and Aussie Taylor really just capitalised on that. And I will say to you, Ryan, over the last couple of rounds there, what resurgence we have seen so far tonight. Obviously, we're on lap 5 of 12. We don't want to put any commentator's curse on the man in car 420, but a much better run. And this is the kind of run that we did see a few rounds ago with Aussie Taylor, just being that driver that was the best place out of everyone in the championship in the top 5, and he's always putting himself up towards the front there. So he's the lead Lexus driver at the moment on the coming through to lap 5, about to start lap 6. But he's doing a really nice job, a much better drive for the man in car 420. Looks like he's been putting a few practice hours here at Tokyo Expressway, because it's all about, when you get the practice hours here, it's all about just trying to keep it on the track and also just trying to keep it away from the barriers, which unfortunately Lamb looks like he's just hit on the last lap.
Yeah, it's good to see Aussie up here. You know, he didn't have the best race a couple of rounds ago. He had a DNF in main series as well, so hasn't had the best of runs. But yeah, that WTC car looks like it's on the money there. So maybe those WTC boys have been hard at work there. But yeah, you know, we all know Aussie's on the controller, so that's going to be interesting and see if we can see it there. But yeah, well, I wonder on what he can manage out of this. I think the best he can go for at the moment is a P3, which I know I'd be happy if I was Aussie. Obviously, seeing the two drivers in front there, they're definitely a like, what are we going to do? So yeah, well, it's yeah, manage what he can and keep the gap there to Lamb, and see if Lamb can come under attack from Breeder and try and get Breeder to take some points off Lamb. So.
Yeah, exactly. I think in a way as well, it's all about really trying to space yourself out, because you get too close, you're in the dirty air with the car in front of you, and then obviously if you suffer from that dirty air, the car behind is going to really capitalise on your mistake there. So it's really about just managing the gap between yourself and the competitor ahead and the competitor behind. So that's what Lamb is really trying to do. He's got a good buffer between himself and Aussie and Breeder right behind there. So he's just going to look, maybe save a bit of tyres, maybe just save a little bit of pace, and really just trying to point out where Taylor's weaknesses are around this track. As we can see, Lamb just goes drifting very wide through the corner there. So there's a bit of a headwind going on the exit of turn 1 there. So maybe just got to bit compromise that. Maybe the change of direction with the wind just didn't help him on that. But he just drifts wide. It's going to bring Breeder a lot closer to him. But Purton holding off Hall very nicely here. He's done a good job here. He's only between Purton and Breeder is not too far of a gap there. It looks like about 1.5 between Breeder and Purton. So any mistakes or any holding up that Breeder has fighting Lamb, it could really bring this next battle pack through with Hall, Churchill, and Burke right behind 7th, 8th, and 9th place.
Yeah, definitely. It's been a good drive here from Purton at the moment, but saying that, looking a little bit further back there, we've got Burke on the, as you said there, on the back of Churchill. So he's in current slip now. So can we see Burke come through here? Obviously, you know, he made that big mistake there at turn 1, turn 2 section. So you know, I think he got into dirty air there, but Van Buren as well back here in P10, and his teammate in Mason back there, P11, and the guys recovering from their early spins in Severy and Cantwell. So yeah, it's been a very good race here. You know, one of the best I've seen at the moment, I think. But yeah, Lamb's still in slip range, and Breeder's still in slip for Lamb. So yeah, it can get pretty spicy here with what will be 5 laps to go. So, or 4 3/4. So yeah, it's going to be a pretty spicy into the finish here. But I'm sorry to these boys up front. They're not getting real much action, but nothing's going on. So yeah, these guys are just kind of really checked out. Halted with a 23.2 as fastest lap there, and Green 23.4. So close together, but not quite.
Yeah, and we saw from the qualifying they were only separated by just over a tenth there, but it looked like Holton really got the advantage with the launch that he got at the start of the race, and he really pulled out about at least 2-3 car lengths over Green going into turn 1. So that was a massive launch and a great launch by Holton to keep that P1, and he's gapping him as well. He's only gapping him by a few tenths. He's keeping himself in the constant 23s. Where Green is just being a little bit conservative running into 24s. Maybe just doesn't want to compromise making too many mistakes being in P2, and knows that he's looking at the bigger picture, not at the race itself. So he's holding on to P2 very nicely and just thinking about the big picture when it comes to St Croix next weekend. But as we see there, right behind, Breeders picks himself up a half-second penalty, cutting the Tokyo chicane on the exit of the Tokyo chicane there, so that's unfortunate for him. That might bring Purton a little bit closer to this battle pack between himself and Breeder, but it looks like Purton lost a bit of time there. I think we were looking at about 1.5 to almost 2 seconds. Has now drifted out to 3 seconds between Purton and Breeder, holding on very nice. And as well, as much as Aussie has having a much better drive in TS2, we're also going to take our hats off to Breeder. I think this is probably going to be one of his best finishing positions in the Touring Cars Championship. He's never been a really big fan of tin top racing, just kind of like his teammate in Mitch Curry, the other car 43 from Robo Sport Racing. Never been a big fan of tin top racing. He's always a super formula man, and we know how quick he is, especially in the finale in the Formula Track Stars, where he got himself a deserving P3, and it was a very close finish between himself, Curry and Lansdell to take out the top 3 for Robo Sport Racing. But he's putting on a really good drive here, very smart drive here by the Flying Dutchman in car 69. In the early hours of Sunday morning, we have to remind our viewers at home, both Breeder and Hall are driving literally on adrenaline, and really just wanting, if they drink coffee, they're trying to get themselves caffeinated up as much as they can so they can keep their eyes focused on the road. Hall doing a really nice job in 7th, but Breeder, I think so far, is a stellar performance by the Dutchman.
Yeah, definitely. In those cars, they're driving at all hours of the night. I don't actually know what part of America Hall is in, but yeah, as you said, it's either going to be very late at night or very early in the morning for him. And then obviously we have Lamb as well. Very close here from these drivers, going too wide there, not hitting the wall either. That's fantastic driving there from those drivers. That was.
I would love to see a long replay of that between Burke and Churchill. That was absolutely clinical driving. If everyone thought that you can't go side by side through the S's, you watch this back, ladies and gentlemen. Neon just ahead, but Burke just not giving up there, really getting close there. A little bit of bumping, but there's still fair game here, and Burke round the outside, very cleanly done. Well done to those two drivers, very classy driving from both Burke and Churchill to run too wide throughout the whole S's as well there, Ryan, from turn 1 all the way up into turn 4, and it's not over yet. Churchill still wants to go for an outside move here. He wants to say, let's keep going 2 by 2, and he's still going to go 2 by 2. Now they have to sort themselves out through the Tokyo chicane here. Burke is going to pull back, and what a classy move there by Neon, but looks like Burke
it's not over yet.
They still want to go 2 by 2. These guys are having a beautiful ding-dong battle here, and they're still at it. It's both Churchill and Burke. This is absolutely phenomenal racing. Putting 2 GT500 Nissan GTRs on a street circuit at Tokyo. Now it's Burke's turn to go around the outside, but he clobbers the wall there. But they're still going to do it. That's the second lap in a row. Can Churchill get the advantage? No, he doesn't. He just backs out of it. Oh,
wow,
my goodness.
That's fantastic. Absolutely phenomenal. That's what I come here for. That's absolutely what I come here for. Oh, Churchill down the inside. Oh.
Nearly pulls it off there. There's some very classy driving there by Chris Burke and Ben Churchill, 8th and 9th place. Obviously, they've lost touching ground to Matt Hall right behind there. 3.7 seconds after all that battling. I mean, yes, you lose pace and you lose time, but you put on a show for the fans here at Trackstars Racing Series, and what a show that was. So two classy drivers going at it side by side at street racing here at Tokyo Expressway. That's what you call some class racing on a street circuit.
Yeah, definitely for sure. And you know, Burke and Churchill haven't really raced together with each other too, so you know they don't really know each other's limits. You know, when you get drivers that are consistently racing with each other, you know their limits and how far they can push the car. But yeah, Churchill I think only done 3 rounds this year, so for him to be doing that up against Burke, who's raced pretty much all season, that's going to be huge. But Churchill there runs wide on the exit of the chicane there, gets a half-second penalty. Coming into the final lap here, this is going to be very close between Van Buren and Churchill on the run to the line there, but yeah, that's going to be critical, so he can try and make as much time on there as we can. But Halton and Green have checked out here at the moment, 13.1 seconds between Green and Ozzy Taylor, and only 2.3 between the two of them. But yeah, Halton with the best lap with a 22.9 and Green with a 23.3. So yeah, wow, what a race by all these drivers. Absolutely phenomenal job.
Absolutely beautiful racing. They're very top driving there by Captain Mark. That's the fastest lap of the day so far. 22.9 set by Aidan Holton. Car 98 as they come through the Tokyo chicane for the last time here. Nicely done, clean there. And as it comes around towards the final corner, Aidan Holton is going to lead the CP train of a 1-2 finish here with Aidan Holton, Car 98, taking the victory for race 1 of the Trackstars TS2 touring cars here at Tokyo Expressway for the Tokyo Sprint. Well done to the man in Car 98. Green holds on to P2, but the battle for P3 is not over. Looks like HBR just got himself a little bit wide there, but he's tucked underneath the slipstream. Aussie Taylor's just going to get P3 ahead of Lamb, with Breeder holding on to 5th place. Purton, a very smart drive, in 6th position. Hall rounds up in 7th place. Looks like Burke has gone through into 8th, Neon 9th, and Luminous in Van Buren just missed out on getting that position in finishing in 10th place with his teammate in Tristan Mason in 11th. Gordock rounding up 12th with Severi and Kentwell 13th and 14th place, but we saw so many different sides of that race here, Ryan. We saw some classy driving from CP Motorsports. We saw some battle packs. We saw some battling for P3 between the Lexis in Aussie Taylor and Lamb. But also we saw some great battling with the Nissans in Churchill and Burke. So there's so many talking points to talk about that. But it is Aidan Holton on the top step for race 1, taking the victory, the clean race, and the fastest lap as well. So well done to him in getting the fastest lap with a 1 minute 22.9. Dominant performance there in race 1 by CP Motorsports.
Yeah, you know, as you said there, 1-2 by CP and their fellow driver in Kentwell down here in, not Kentwell, sorry, Severi in 13th. So I think Severi, unfortunately, a little bit off the pace there, but there's definitely potential for him to come through there. But yeah, as you said, clinical performance by Halton and Green to come through for a 1-2. Aussie Taylor up into P3 for WTC. Lamb P4, so we got a Nissan 1-2 and then Lexus 3-4, and then it's kind of scattered between Nissans and Lexuses. But yeah, wow, what a race there that was for TS2. No big incidents, they weren't kind of together. You know, no cars kind of really hit each other. They were really racing very clean. You know, for me, that's got to be the best race that I've seen so far this year for TS2 for sure, by any means, you know, anywhere close.
Oh, absolutely. I don't think I've seen such close racing amongst cars, but especially you add an element of street racing to put 2 cars side by side and not touching a barrier. That is absolutely phenomenal by those 2 drivers in both Burke and Churchill. So some very good driving there. It looked really, I will say, as just not being a commentator, but being the series admin, one of the series admins of Trackstars Racing Series, that was, you know, I think that was masterful of what clean racing is all about there. Getting the cars off the line. We know it's street circuit racing, so everyone gets a little bit ambitious sometimes. Hopefully I don't jinx it for race 2. I mean, anything can happen in race 2, isn't that right, Ryan? It's not TS2 without all the drama that comes in for the final race. We praise race 1, but maybe race 2 could be something else. So we'll never know. We'll find out very soon. But join us in a few minutes' time, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be bringing you all the action here at Track Stars Racing Series for race 2 of the Tokyo Sprint here. So sit back, relax, grab yourself a drink, and stay tuned for race 2 as we bring the coverage to you very soon.
Alright, ladies and gents, we are back here for race 2 here, running a little bit behind schedule, so main series your lobby will be delayed in opening, unfortunately, but we were waiting for Pat, which we didn't know that he wasn't racing with us until late, so Pat, thanks mate, appreciate that. But yeah, here we have, ladies and gentlemen, for race 2 here at TS2 for Track Stars Racing Series 2023 here, second last round at Tokyo Expressway for the outer loop, and here we have, ladies and gentlemen, we have 5 lights ready to go for the race start here at race 2. Can Muffin get it off the line and hold green at bay, or will Aussie Glenn Green come through and take a charge there? Aussie slits in quite early there behind green, sucks out behind into some space, driver's very clean there. Oh, Churchill, jeez, that was a
very good save there by Churchill. Just got a little bit whacked there by the WRT driver and Doc, but it looks nothing, no harm done there. As they all come through to the hairpin for the first time here on race 2. Gordock trying to get back on the inside there. Churchill runs very wide there, just tries to do the alternate line here. As we can see, Kentwell just drifting, Tokyo drifting as the occasion is here at Tokyo, drifting through to the turn 5 hairpin. Let's see how he does that. Whoa, very nicely done there, Campbell. There's your audition for the street races out there. But it is Holton leading the way ahead of green yet again. The order hasn't really changed much, but what I can see down here is Lamb has dropped well down the order to P7. So he was running up very nicely in 4th place, but a mistake happening potentially at the hairpin has dropped him well down the order, and Purton as well, as there's going to be carnage through the Tokyo chicane here, but all caused by Burton, and they're going to potentially go 3 wide into the last corner. Let's go for the onboard. Let's see what happens here. Looks like Burton just misread it, unfortunately. Holds up Doc in the process. And very unlucky, their cars are just trying to pilot through, well, their way through 3 wide. They were in the last corner there. How did they not crash out on that corner? I'll never know. Doc is ahead of Mason, with Burton unfortunately dropping well down the order in 11th place. So from what the high was for Burton, is now turning into a low for him in 11th place. And I think Churchill is also right behind him in 12th place. These guys, remember, they were battling for 6th place in the later stages of race 1, and now down to 11th and 12th places. We see some massive contact there between Doc and Mason. We can see some cars filing through. It is all carnage here. It is all calamities in race 2. In the rear of the field here, it looks like Doc's trying to go for a wider line there. Mason just taps the rear quarter, gets the car back in a straight line. Churchill says, "Thank you very much. I'll take back P10." Burton goes back up into P9 there, but all chaos in unveils around here at Tokyo on the 2nd lap, DJ.
Yeah, that was crazy there. Looks like Mason took a shallow line there. Doc made a wide line and unfortunately tagged each other, and Doc should really pull in there. Good work there by Doc to pull in at that brake marker there. Very good racecraft there, but Green and Holton again have checked out. But Aussie dropped down the order. He was on P3 there, so he's potentially made a bit of a mistake going through the chicane, or got a penalty or something like that. But yeah, wow, what a spicy race so far at the moment. That they all well and good though. I'm pretty sure Mason did redress that position there, but we'll see what happens and leave that up to the stewards if we need be. But yeah, well, what a start there. As you said, unfortunately Churchill dropped down. Purdon, from what he dropped down, he gained a couple of positions with that little daggle there, but you know, he was just kind of recollect himself over a chicane, under a chicane, and just, you know, doing what you can in the limited space that you've got. You know, it's a tight track, and you know, you don't really have much room to move. So, you know, all well and good there, and yeah, we'll carry on, I guess. But jumping into the comments there, hello, Chris, welcome to the Combox of TS2. You know, you didn't want to join in this week, and you know, mate, what it could have been here, but Green closes in a gap to Holton. Wow, he's dropped that down from about 0.8 to 0.5, so
he doesn't really be considered a number 2 driver here amongst his much more experienced teammate in Aiden Holton here. So obviously Aiden Holton going for pride, trying to get maximum points, while Green is thinking about the big picture in this championship, trying to get the championship victory. Holton sets the fastest lap with a 23.2, which is then eclipsed by Green with a 23 flat. So these boys are really duking it out here, a lot closer. What we are seeing, much closer racing we're seeing between the CP boys in 1st and 2nd place. Breeder 3.7 behind here, with his now teammate in Burke has gone through to 4th place. So we have a CP 1-2 with a Robo Sport racing 3-4, and WTC racing in 5th place in the hands of Aussie Taylor. So solid start here by the Nissan GTRs, occupying the first 4 positions, with the fastest Lexus in 5th place and the highest placed Honda in Van Buren inside the top 8. So nice performance there by Van Buren, probably capitalised on all the mistakes that we saw with some of the drivers in the background, getting himself up into P8, but he did show some good signs there in the opening race. I believe he finished in 9th place at the end of it, or 10th place, actually behind Churchill. So he's coming up through the order very nicely. There is Van Buren for Kiwi Pit Lane. It is a beautiful livery that the Kiwi Pit Lane team always put through, kind of like the looks like the logo of the Repsol Honda back on the MotoGP cars, on the MotoGP bikes rather. Looks really nicely presented there by Kiwi Pit Lane. So very nice livery there. But Van Buren holding on to P8. Burton closing up very nicely there. He's starting to close the gap a little bit on the Honda driver in 9th place. He's going to try and work his way up through the field. As we can see on the mini-map there, there's a big spread between the front runners, and then a huge gaggle of cars in that mid-pack right there.
Yeah, well, you've got these guys in here separated by, you know, 5 or 6 seconds there. Ooh, Van Buren runs a little bit deep there into one, but yeah, I think Van Buren struggling with some car pace here at the moment, doing a 24.9. You know, I was a low 24.3 when I did that lap there in the Honda. So you know, the Honda can go really deep on the brakes here, and you know, at Tokyo, this is kind of really what you can use to your advantage over the other cars. So, sit in the slipstream. We all know so far that the Honda has really struggled in a straight line. So, you know, they haven't been able to find that pace that they can get in other sections where the other cars can. You know, take back to last year, the Hondas were really strong here simply because of that first sector. You know, through those S's, and then you get a really good run out of there into the hairpin, and then, you know, just chuck it into overdrive for the straight, and you know, we kind of really run low downforce in the Hondas last year, so they were decent in the straight line. So they were able to do that there, but Green, something's happened to Muffin here.
Looks like he had a bad run through the Tokyo chicane there. Looks like he's going to lose the lead there. Yeah, there it is. He just saves the car on the exit there. Just runs the car wide on the final corner. That opens an invitation for Green. He takes the lead away from Holton, but he does have to serve a half-second penalty, so he must have picked it up when he saw the calamities of Muffin spinning his car, or doing a bit of a drift on the exit of the Tokyo chicane. But as they come down to turn 5 at the hairpin, braking deep, it goes Holton, unfortunately not able to get himself closer to the back of his teammate in car 232. So it is now Green leading the Tokyo Sprint in race 2, ahead of his teammate in Aiden Holton. He's got a 0.6 gap over the Muffin Man in second place. It is going to be very important. We've got to look at that gap, 0.5 penalty. Let's see how much of a deficit that is when they get onto the pit straight, Ryan.
Yeah, it's going to be critical here. Obviously, he's in the slip, but he's not close enough to make a pass, and I have noticed people lose a little bit of time when coming into the chicane, so trying to hold that speed there. Maybe it may go into Green as long as he gets a good exit, but then can Halton make charge of that, and hopefully doesn't make a bit of a run there, but yeah, Green 0.71, 0.72. It's going to be tied into 1. I think it's going to be very tied into 1 here. We'll jump on board with Halton. Can he get past him?
Looks like he has. Very cleanly done there with a huge speed difference between the CP cars. But he's only just gained 2/10 on that. So Green just needed to make sure. He should have gone for that second gap there, but unfortunately, Halton just got a bit of looked like he got a stable run through the chicane there, just like Green, but not able to pull advantage there for Green as he hits the barrier on the right-hand side there, so now loses a lot of time to his teammate in Holton, so just losing a bit of confidence after serving that half-second penalty there, drifts away 8/10, almost a second now between himself and Holton in first place there. As we can see, the CP drivers really going out, but still in the slipstream is Green. It's P2, and Breeder right behind there has checked out ahead of his teammate in Burke in 4th place. Aussie Taylor holding on to 5th, and then Matt Hall with a half-second penalty next to his name. Unfortunately, won't be able to capitalise on the positions he's making. Mason trying to go around the outside of Churchill is not having the best of performances here in race 2. Unlike his race 1, had a strong performance race 1. Unfortunately, just some calamities in the opening laps of Churchill. Dropping outside the top 10, so very unfortunate for him. Burke still holds on to 4th. Aussie Taylor, the lead. Lexus, and unfortunately it's not been a very solid race here for Lamb here. He's losing a lot of confidence. He's not actually closing up to Hall. He will gain some time with the half-second penalty that he has to serve there as he wags the tail of the Lexus RCF. He's going to gain some time here, but it's a little bit of a disappointment there from Lamb in this race. Unfortunately, just not really able to maximise his Lexus like he did in the first race.
Yeah, he did lose quite a lot of time there in that first opening section. I think he got involved in a little bit of kerfuffle and potentially maybe had a bit of a penalty. He did do a 127 on lap 2, so something may have happened to him there, but he's on the back of Hall now, obviously, when he served that half-second penalty. So coming down into the back straight there, I think HBR isn't exactly strong coming into the hairpin, so that Lexus is kind of struggling. What I can see, maybe in the top end, either that or Hall's just getting a better run overall. You know, the Lexus may be a little bit slippery. So, but you know, Aussie's dropped down here into 5th, and then we've got Breeder up into 3rd. So this may spice up the round results at the moment too, with Aussie dropping down to P5, Breeder up to P3, and then Burke P4. Lamb dropping down to P7 too. So yeah, it can definitely spice up the final standings here.
Yeah, and if it stays as it is, it could potentially give Brito the overall 3rd place at the end of it. And it'll definitely, as we said at the broadcast for race 1, it will definitely be his strongest performance that we've seen in the TS2 Touring Cars Championship. If he gets the P3, and it'll be his first podium in Trackstars TS2, so he'll be absolutely delighted. But he's only got 4 laps to go to try and make that true. He's got well over 2 seconds over his teammate in Burke in 4th place. So he must love his street racing here. Is Brito, because he's feeling much more comfortable here. Not so comfortable at the moment is Muffin, just still not able to break that second margin over Green in 2nd place, with Brito getting a purple sector there, 10th clear on the fastest lap time set by Aiden Holton in 3rd place. So let's go on board with the Flying Dutchman running on in 3rd place as we go down towards the back straight here. It's all about just trying to keep the car straight. Just think about how you're going to go through the next braking zones here, but you can't really think about how you're going to execute the breakers because literally there are walls surrounding you. You just have to navigate throughout the walls, tiptoeing through at full speed, clocking well over 280 k's plus down the back straight.
Yeah, definitely. You know, as you said there, got walls either side of you. You're trying to run the limit as best you can, but at the same time trying not to damage the car. So luckily for these guys, they do have light damage, but main series is going to be really critical there. Dirty air, you know, setups up, down, left, right. You know, we can see anything from it. We're trying to use the track limits and overlaps, and you know, it can really go either way there. But yeah. Concrete's not your friend on a racetrack, unfortunately, and unfortunately for this round, it's surrounded by us. So you know, got to make the most of it. You know, every driver is going to try and take the most out of the track they can. You know, what driver doesn't push limits?
Oh, absolutely. That's why we see some very strong street races in the Supercars Championship. You can definitely say Shane Van Gisbergen, Scott McLaughlin, even the likes of Jamie Whincup, Craig Lowndes. They were very strong street races in the Supercars Championship. So you've got the special drivers that love the barriers and love getting close up to the walls in street racing, and you can definitely see in the likes of Brito, he's so much more comfortable on a street track than he is potentially on the real world track as we go for the next round at St Croix. So you've got a bit of a mix there between half road slash half permanent racetrack that we see around St Croix. It's kind of brings up that Adelaide 500 vibes. Yeah, where you've got permanent track, and then you've got yourself a street circuit as well. But there's not too many barriers at St Croix. There's only a few that I can think of at the top of my head at the back section of St Croix C. So it'll be very interesting to see if he can apply that same headspace when he gets to St Croix for the final round. But it looks like Lamb has now gone past Hole into 6th place. So trying to gain a few more points next to his name to try and see if he can hold on to that P3, potentially P3, P4 overall standings in for the Tokyo Sprint. But we've got 2 laps to go here. Hall's not giving up. He's right close to the rear wing of the privateer in Lamb. Doesn't think of an inside move through to turn 1 there. Lamb just clips the wall there on the left-hand side, but still able to eke out a gap over Hall there. So the dirty air really kicking in there. Just the wash that you get from turn 1 through to turn 2, it really plays on the driver's mentality when following cars.
Yeah, definitely. You know, especially when you need as much aero as you can going through that first section there. You're going to need to take all the aero you can get, but then following a car that closely, the car's essentially in front saying, thank you, I'm going to take all yours off and give me extra. So yeah, the dirty air really washes the car out. We've seen so far the cars in close proximity are really washing out to the wall, and luckily not getting any damage from it. But Hall's in a very decent slipstream range here at the moment. The question is, can he run deep into the corner at the end of the straight here? He's pulled out, unfortunately can't get it done. Looks like that Nissan or just taps the back there, maybe a bit of netcode potentially. Obviously we do have Malaysian driver versus USA, so essentially 2 different opposite parts of the world. So yeah, wow. Ooh, Lamb runs really deep there.
You got a brilliant run out of the Tokyo chicane, did Lamb there. He gapped him by literally 0.8 of a second there. It was only like 0.09 coming into the chicane, and they gapped him by well over 0.8. So that's a very strong exit there. by Lamb to hold on to P6. As we look down towards the back there, we have Churchill now inside 10th place, Mason 11th, Doc 12th, Severi and Kentwell rounding up the rear of the field of our 14-man field. But they're on the final lap now as we come back towards the front here with Captain Muffin and Aidan Holton has really just now decided to check here. I think Green's just thrown the white flag. Unfortunately, led the race partially, but unfortunately that half-second penalty cost him, and it cost him 2/10 going into turn 1. So that could be some valuable data for the main series and coming up in less than an hour's time. But for the last time here, as they're coming around towards the back section of the track, it is starting to get dark here at Tokyo. That means it's almost time to go street racing in the Trackstars Touring Cars main series coming up very shortly here. Aidan Holton just runs it very wide there, just toying with the streets of Tokyo, but rounds it up the final corner to take the clean sweep here for CP Motorsports, takes the victory. Car 98 takes the win, with Green again right behind in position 2, making it a CP 1-2 weekend here at Tokyo. And a huge congratulations to Ed Breeder in 3rd place, his first time on the podium in Trackstars TS2, as we have Burke holding on to 4th place. Aussie Taylor rounds up the top 5 as the lead Lexus driver with Lamb in 6th, Hall in 7th, Ben Purton, a good recovery drive for him to be inside the top 8. Van Buren runs in 9th, and Churchill inside the top 10, getting a little bit pressurised there by Mason, but just picks up a half-second. I think he's just got enough gap between himself and Doc right behind as we wait to see that they start to cross the start-finish line. Yeah, he's got a good gap there over Doc. Severi rounds up in 13th, and Cantwell in 14th place. But what a race that was. High drama in the opening laps here, Ryan, but what a battle it was between the CP drivers. A much closer affair between the two CP drivers.
Yeah, that was crazy. That was a crazy race there from those guys. Absolutely phenomenal. Best race round I've seen so far. So I'm really pleased with that, and I know those drivers are really going to as well. But Captain Muffin and Aidan Holton coming through again, getting the clean sweep there for CP. Obviously, another 1-2 there for CP, and then we actually have a 3-4 there for RoboSport Racing. So a good send-off there to RoboSport Racing here at Tokyo. So, you know, rebranding next year for RN Racing. I think Robo's going to be pretty happy with that, to see these drivers come through in a 3-4. So, yeah, very good job there. Aussie Taylor in P5 there. Lamb P6, probably not where he wanted to be, and then Hall there for FR. At the moment, you know, not seeing Sandwich on the grid. You know, it would have been good to see where Sandwich would have, you know, come into play with these drivers. So that would have been interesting. Even Crestyle as well. So Purden down there in 8th place, Van Ruren in 9th, Churchill 10th, Mason with that 1 second penalty, very close there, just under 9/10 separating between him and Doc. Severi for the other CP Motorsports car, and then Kentwell for the other Robo Sport car down in P14. So yeah, wow, what a race, what a weekend, mate. That's exciting, and if that's what TS2 is going to bring, what's main series got in store?
Oh, absolutely. I'm looking forward to the challenge in the Trackstars Touring Cars main series coming up very soon. So we are very excited to bring all the action, and under an hour's time we'll hopefully be able to bring a stream for you guys, ladies and gentlemen, for the Touring Cars main series. But before we end off the stream here in Trackstars TS2, let's try to pick out our driver of the day here at Trackstars, and I'll let you take the reins here. I have a couple of honourable mentions here, but I have one that I have picked, but I want to know if you and I are on the same page here and we have picked the same drivers. I mean, it's never come true. We've only had a couple of times where we have agreed on driver of the day here, but I'll be very interested to see and hear who your pick is.
Well, so far this year we haven't really seen him do much, or you know, up in that top 5, top 4 range. But yeah, you know, he's really bounced back from a couple of bad rounds there. Took as much as he could get, but yeah, I got to go for the Flying Dutchman in Ed Breeder. So done a really good job there, coming in with a P3 and then a top 5 in race 1. So hopefully we can see Ed get some decent points there for round 12 here at TS2. But yeah, I think if not, it wasn't that, I'd probably go Aussie Taylor. He's next in line for that one. Unfortunately, wasn't the best in race 2, but yeah, really showed that he's got the pace to be up the front. So
yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree with you there, Ryan. I'm definitely going to give him my pick for driver of the day to Ed Breeder, the Flying Dutchman for RoboSport Racing. What a drive! What a recovery drive! What a redemption! Been a big fan of Tin Top Racing in the Group 2 GT 500s, but he's come through with a vengeance, and he decided to say, right, I'm in no championship fight anymore. I'm just going to race for Pride. I'm going to race for Pride for Robo Sport Racing, sending them off at the end of 2023 and try to get the best results they can. And what a way to do it, to get P3 in the finale for the Tokyo Sprint. So yeah, definitely my driver of the day will definitely go to Breeder from Robo Sport Racing, and I think a close second and third. I think will have to definitely be. I would definitely have to say Burke would be probably be a very high P2 for driver of the day there, because he did some really good racing in race 1 and then just drove a clean race in race 2 to get himself high up as high up as he can.
Yeah, he's done a really good job there as well. I can go with that one as well for you. So, yeah, that was a good drive there from him too. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting come at the end. Obviously, that'll grant Burke automatic entry to St Croix. So, yeah, that's going to be a bit spicy there. But I think that's it for us, my friend, for TS2, because we got some races to run and some things to do and people to see. So.
Absolutely. So, yeah, we cannot wait. And ladies and gentlemen, that is the final round of the normal point scoring. So stay tuned next week if you want to see some exciting racing here at Trackstars Racing Series and what it could be, crowning 2 new champions in the Trackstars TS3 Touring Cars Championship and the TS2 Touring Cars Championship. If you want to see who is going to be crowned champion at the end of the weekend, stay tuned, subscribe to the Trackstars Racing Series YouTube channel, and watch all the action of the finale at St Croix, where we'll be bringing you all of the live action broadcasted. Actually, it won't be broadcasted by yourself. You actually will be away next weekend, so that's a little bit unfortunate there to not have you join us for the finale here. So a little bit sad there, because obviously we've had you and me in the commentary box throughout the whole TS2 Touring Cars Championship. So hopefully, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be able to find ourselves a streamer here, and I've got a couple of good contacts that I'm going to be chasing up, and hopefully we can bring you some amazing broadcasts of the TS3 and TS2 finale. So stay tuned for that in a week's time, but stay tuned in less than an hour's time. We're going to bring you all the coverage for the main series, the Trackstars Tokyo Sprint for the main series Touring Cars Championship. So we'll bring you that very shortly, but that is us for TS2. So on behalf of myself, Nick Patasso, and Ryan Palmer in DJ SX Pointed, I will see you guys. We'll see